By the end of this lesson on ghost notes, I'm going to show you how to play something similar to what I just played in the intro. So we're going to start off with just a G on the 3rd fret of the E string, and I'm just going to break down the technique before taking you through 7 different rhythms you can download below. So here's what we're doing. This is a ghost note. So if you play a G normally, you would fret at the 3rd fret and you would pluck. I know you know this, but just to go over this. The ghost note just deadens the string and you get this percussive sound here. Now actually the technique is a little tricky. It involves a lot of timing and some good rhythmic knowledge. But one thing we can do is work on what finger to use when we're playing the ghost note. If I just use one finger, you get some of these overtones and harmonics. I mean, if you go to the 7th fret and lift up, and that's what a ghost note is. It's when you lift off the note but still touching the string. But there I get a harmonic, even on the 3rd fret actually. You get something going on there. So to completely deaden it, it's also called a dead note, you would use more than one finger, like that. Now, what I'm doing here is I'm putting my little finger, and a 3rd finger you can use as well, on that 3rd fret, and all the fingers this side of my hand are just placed on the string. And you get that dead note. So just practice just doing this. Play a G, lift off, play the dead note. You can make up any number of rhythms you want. We'll get to this, but that's really the trick. It's just timing, pressing down and then coming off, just learning that movement. I quite like to do it where my fingers are this side of the string that I'm plucking. If it's this side, I find it a bit harder to lift up. But sometimes you'll have to do that if you're going to notes that are around here afterwards. We'll get to that. I'm going to go into the rhythms now. Here's the first one. Just 8th notes where we have a pluck on the first one and then a ghost note or dead note on the second one, like this. I mean, just that, just get used to doing that, just the timing of pressing down, coming off without coming completely off the strings. If you were to play along to a drum beat, it'd be like this. Not particularly musical now, but when I get to the end, I'll show you how to make it musical, how to use this. Next rhythm, we've got this. With the beat so you can see where the rhythms lie. That's a dotted 8th note, and the ghost note is the 16th note. So dotted 8th, 16th is da, da, and then you land on a quarter note, dun, da, dun. It's just that rhythm all the way through. Next we have 2 16ths, and then the 8th note is the ghost note. So slowed down just once, it's this. That's the thing with the ghost note. My hand is just held in this position here. I'm actually using my little finger and 3rd finger, fingers quite curled around, but all of them touching that E string, and the 1st finger just lying across the remaining strings, and the little finger actually, just to mute those. So all I get is that and nothing else. So it's this. 1, 2, 3, 4. I would recommend getting a metronome so you can see where all the beats are landing, or using a drum loop, and it's just a case of getting used to those mechanics. The next rhythm flips that round, so you've got the 8th note is the ghost note, and then you've got 2 16ths like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can slow things down, you can speed things up. gets quite tricky. Next one, 16th notes, where we have the first two are played, plucked normally, and the third and the fourth are the ghost notes. Trying to keep everything consistent, index middle the whole way. Next one is reversed. Jaco Pastorius used rhythms like that. Love that. And that came from funk players. Players like Tommy Cogbill were using those techniques in the 60s. Then we have this last one. Actually, I'm just adding a ghost note on the second 16th as well. What we have here is two 16th notes, then a ghost note, and then that's a tie. The fourth 16th is tied into the second beat, which is a quarter note. So it's like burn. Now that we've got that, you can download the PDF and you can go through the video again if you need to hear how the rhythms go. But now we've got that, we can start to apply some musicality to this. And all I was doing at the beginning was these rhythms mostly, some other ones, but mainly these rhythms, and just moving it through notes of a scale. I was using this, the G natural minor scale. Now notice now, I can't really put my hand in this position unless I'm prepared to shift around a lot. Because if I go to some of these other notes, I now need to be sort of this side. And here's the thing. Scales really make up a lot of bass lines, especially a lot of funk bass lines. So if I just take those notes, I can run these rhythms randomly through it, and it's going to sound quite good. Now that was a hammer on at the end. When you add those in, it starts to sound really good. I'm playing the 3rd to the 5th fret, the B flat to the C on the G, hammering on, and then instantly transitioning into ghost notes. Not doing that. See, my fingers are just laying flat there. So it's 4/16 there, hammer on, and then lift up, ghost note. And you can move that around. That was just all that same pattern moving around. In this instance, G minor pentatonic. You need to know that shape. Or those shapes, there's many of them. I have a music theory course that shows you all these patterns and loads of other scales as well. I'll put a link below to that too. So this is what I was doing. I was going like this. So I was on a G. Using octaves, that's an octave pattern where you have the G on the 3rd fret. You go 2 frets across, 2 strings across, and you get the octave pattern. So I'm basically playing a G, then going all the way to the E flat and just counting up. That's the 6th note of the scale. And then down 1 to the D. So we have like a chord progression here. G minor, an E flat major, and then D minor. But I'm just ignoring all of that and just playing root notes and doing some sort of a ghost note treatment on each one. What if we do root notes? Any fill can come from the G minor pentatonic scale. You don't have to use just ghost notes. If you're writing a bass line, you probably want to use this, not all the time, but as ever, just study the great bass players, listen out for ghost notes, and hear why they're using it and why it sounds good, and borrow those ideas for yourself. So to practice, you can download the PDF, go slowly through all the rhythms, just root notes to start with, making sure it sounds completely dead like that, working on the mechanics. Then when you sort of get that together, learn this pattern right here. Have this pulse going, whether it's just in your head or a metronome or a drum loop that's going quite slow. And just, you can really be quite random going through different notes. This is just set in that one position, getting used to that pressing down, lifting up thing. I'm actually using all the fingers here to deaden all the strings, and then this hand has got to be a bit more dexterous. And this style of playing, any style of playing really, that uses quite a lot of notes and rhythms, you need that coordination and dexterity. So this will help with that. Thanks very much for watching. If you want any more lessons like this, just leave a comment below. And just a quick one, if you do want to support this channel whilst also improving your bass playing, I have some courses. I'll put a link below and you can check those out. See you next time.